Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, I do not know about you, but I have been watching the beautiful and heartbreaking journey of Willow Kane and Michael Corinthos for what feels like a lifetime. We have seen them go through the highest of highs and the absolute lowest of lows, and through it all, there has always been this invisible string tying their hearts together. Lately, though, things have been so terribly strained between them, with all the fighting and the bitterness that comes from a broken home. But goodness gracious, the events that just unfolded on the episodes from August 10th and 11th have completely turned everything upside down, and I am just bursting at the seams to talk about what this means for their future. It seems to me that the writers might just be planting the seeds for a long-awaited reunion, even if the road to get there is full of potholes and sharp turns. Let us start by talking about that absolutely terrifying moment when Jacinda Bracken decided to do the unthinkable and slip drugs right into Willow's drink. Lord have mercy. When I saw that happening, my heart just about leapt right out of my chest. There is nothing more frightening than the thought of a mother, a sweet woman who is just trying to go about her day, having her sense of control and safety stolen away from her in such a wicked, underhanded manner. You just sit there watching the television screen, wanting to reach through and knock that glass right out of her hand. It was a deeply unsettling moment, and it really set the stage for all the emotional turbulence that followed. But then, like a true knight in shining armor, our Michael swooped right in to save the day. I tell you, there is something so profoundly moving about a man who, despite all the anger and the custody battles, still possesses that deep, instinctual need to protect the woman he once loved. Michael realized something was terribly wrong, and his first thought was not about their arguments or their lawyers. His first thought was about Willow's safety. He was so worried that she might try to handle her important work calls in that compromised state, or heaven forbid, get behind the wheel of a car and drive off into danger. He rushed right over to her side, and you could just see the pure, unadulterated relief wash over him when he found her. What really touched my soul during this whole ordeal was how Michael immediately shifted his focus to the well-being of their precious children. In the midst of all this chaos and fear, his priority was making sure that his family unit, broken as it may be right now, was safe and sound from any harm. He even went out of his way to promise that he would make up for a missed family outing to the arcade. He assured her that they would all do something fun together, just the four of them, to bring a little bit of joy back into their lives. That simple, everyday promise of a family trip to play arcade games just grounded the whole dramatic situation in something so real and relatable. It reminded us that beneath all the soap opera drama, these are just parents trying to do right by their little ones. Then came the scene in the living room, and oh, bless my heart, it was just the sweetest thing I have seen on this show in a very long time. Michael brought Willow over to the sofa, and he was so incredibly gentle with her. He found a soft, warm blanket and carefully tucked her in, making sure she was comfortable and safe while the terrible drugs worked their way out of her system. It was such an intimate, caring gesture. You could see the history between them in the way his hands moved, in the way he looked down at her with such deep, lingering affection. It was as clear as a summer sky that this man still cares for her deeply, no matter how many times they have faced off in a courtroom. Because Willow was under the influence of whatever awful concoction Jacinda gave her, all of her usual defenses were completely stripped away. Normally, Willow has her guard up so high around Michael these days, always ready for the next argument or the next accusation. But in that hazy, vulnerable state, she was just so soft and tender. The anger was gone, replaced by a sweet, almost innocent affection. She looked at Michael not as her adversary in a bitter custody war, but as the handsome, caring man she fell in love with all those years ago. It was a beautiful reminder of the woman Michael used to know, and you could see in his eyes that it was breaking his heart in the best possible way. And Michael's voice, my goodness, it was as sweet as molasses. He spoke to her with a gentleness that we have not heard from him in such a long time. They started talking, just murmuring to each other in the quiet of the room, and they began to reminisce about the good old days. They talked about the times when they were happy, when their home was filled with laughter instead of tension. It was so moving to watch them find that common ground again, even if it was only because of a terrible circumstance. For a few fleeting moments, all the pain and the betrayal were washed away, and they were just Michael and Willow again, two young people deeply in love. I have to take a moment to talk about the absolute magic between the actors Rory Gibson and Caitlin McMullen. We all know that ever since Rory took over the role of Michael, the story has had these two characters at each other's throats. They have been fighting tooth and nail over her relationship with Drew Kane and the heartbreaking custody arrangements for their children. Because of all that constant conflict, we have never really had the chance to see the romantic chemistry between this specific pairing of actors. But let me tell you, in that quiet living room scene, their chemistry was practically leaping off the screen. It was undeniable, and it just makes you wonder what kind of magic they could create if the writers finally let them be happy together. There was even a moment, a breathless little moment, where it looked for all the world like Willow was going to lean in and kiss him. She was looking at his lips, her eyes heavy and full of emotion, and the tension in that room was thick enough to cut with a butter knife. I was sitting on the very edge of my seat, practically shouting at the television for them to just go ahead and kiss. But true to form, the writers decided to show a little restraint and hold back. It was probably for the best, considering Willow was not in her right mind, but it certainly served as a powerful tease for all of us watching at home. It proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the spark is still very much alive. However, as much as I would love to sit here and tell you that it is going to be smooth sailing for these two from here on out, we all know that is not how things work in Port Charles. The reality is that this drugging scandal with Jacinda Bracken is going to have some severe consequences. Instead of bringing Michael and Willow closer together permanently, it looks like this horrible incident is going to throw gasoline right onto the fire of their custody battle. The courts and the lawyers are going to get involved again, and all that fragile piece they found on the sofa is going to be shattered into a million little pieces. It just breaks my heart to know that they are going to have to go to war with each other all over again. And things are about to get a whole lot darker and more complicated because Michael is not going into this next round of the custody battle alone. He is going to be getting some very unexpected help from young Kai Taylor and Trina Robinson. Now, you might be wondering why on earth Kai and Trina would get involved in Michael and Willow's family business. Well, I have some tea to spill that is going to make your head spin. It turns out that Kai and Trina are carrying a massive, heavy secret. They know the absolute truth about what happened to Drew Kane. They know that it was our sweet, seemingly innocent Willow who actually pulled the trigger and shot him. I tell you, when I found out that Willow was the one who shot Drew, I nearly dropped my coffee cup. It is such a shocking, unbelievable twist for a woman who has always tried to be so good and pure. But desperation makes people do terrible things. And now that dark secret is out in the open, at least to Kai and Trina. The fact that they are willing to take this explosive information and hand it over to Michael to use against Willow in a custody battle is just monumental. It completely changes the landscape of this entire storyline. Trina, bless her heart, has always been such a strong, righteous young woman, so for her to step into this messy situation means she truly believes she is doing the right thing for those children. You have to wonder what is going through Michael's head right now. On one hand, he just had this incredibly tender, loving moment with the mother of his children. He felt that old love stirring in his heart. But on the other hand, he is being handed the ultimate weapon to destroy her in court and take his kids away from a woman who is apparently capable of attempted murder. The moral dilemma that Michael is facing is just staggering. How do you reconcile the gentle woman sleeping on your sofa with the woman who shot a recovering man? It is a bumpy, rocky road ahead, and I honestly do not know how Michael is going to navigate it without losing a piece of his own soul in the process. So, my dear friends, we are just going to have to strap in and hold on tight. The upcoming weeks on General Hospital are going to be an absolute roller coaster of emotions. We will cry, we will get angry, and hopefully, eventually, we will get to cheer for love to conquer all. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, for letting me share my thoughts and feelings about these characters we all love so dearly. Make sure you tune in to see how this all unfolds because I have a feeling we are in for some truly shocking moments. Until next time, take care of yourselves, love your families, and keep on watching.